Welcome back, everyone. I'm Abigail.
And I'm Grayson. Today we will be talking about the 1943 Kentucky Derby.
So let's jump right in. The 1943 Kentucky Derby took place on May 1st and is also known as the Streetcar Derby.
That's right, the race almost didn't happen due to war restrictions, but Colonel Matt Wynne lobbied for it, stating that it would be a streetcar derby, preventing out-of-state spectators and ensuring that locals use the streetcar to attend rather than drive their own cars to preserve gas.
Despite these restrictions, about 60,000 spectators came to the Derby. However, at the last minute, the top contender, Ocean Wave, was injured, and the winner of the race, Count Fleet, became the number one contestant with 2 to 5 odds, the shortest odds in race history.
After that impressive win, Blue Swords came in second and Slide Rule came in third.
Let's talk about the winner, Count Fleet, who we found a lot of information on.
Here you can see the photo finish of Count Fleet winning the Kentucky Derby. After this race, he went on to win the entire Triple Crown Series.
He went on to become the 1943 Horse of the Year and Champion 3-year-old due to his undefeated 3-year-old season.
He was ranked one of the best racehorses in the 20th century and was inducted into the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame in 1961.
Along with those honors, he set a world record as a 2-year-old running the mile at the Champagne Stakes in 1942.
Additionally, he won the last Triple Crown race in 1943 with a 25-length lead, which was the record until 1973 with Secretariat.
Count Fleet was the leading North American sire in 1951 and the leading North American broodmare sire in 1963, siring Count Turf, who won the 1951 Kentucky Derby.
Count Fleet was injured during his 3-year-old season and did not race again, retiring to stud in 1944 with a record of 16 wins out of 21 races.
Out of his 434 foals, he sired 267 winners, out of which 39 won stake races.
His daughters produced the 1965 Derby winner, Lucky Debonair, and multiple stake winners.
His sire line is now extinct, however he still influences modern bloodlines through his daughters. His name appeared 3 times in American Pharoah's pedigree, who was the winner of the 2015 Kentucky Derby.
Count Fleet died in 1973 at 33 years old, outliving many of his own offspring, and was the longest living Kentucky Derby winner ever until 1987, when Gallant Man died at age 34.
Due to his great racing record, he has 2 races named in his honor, the Count Fleet Stakes at Belmont and the Count Fleet Sprint Handicap at Oaklawn Park.
Now let's look at his pedigree. We see names mentioned in previous videos like St. Simon and Sunridge, but also his sire, Ray Count, who won the 1928 Kentucky Derby.
Additionally, we see one name listed twice, St. Frusquin, who was a British thoroughbred racehorse. He won 9 out of 11 races and was Britain's champion sire in 1903 and 1907.
Now let's discuss the second place winner, Blue Swords.
Blue Swords had a racing career with 22 starts, 5 wins, 5 places, and 2 shows, with a major win in his 2-year-old season at the Eastern Shore Handicap, the Remsen Handicap, and Ardsley Handicap.
He sired Blue Man, who won the 1952 Preakness Stakes.
Upon examining Blue Sword's pedigree, we see many familiar names like Cinderella, Ben Brush, Spendthrift, and his son Hastings, and Man of War, who is the grandson to Hastings.
We also see a significant number of horses that were used more than once within this pedigree, Bendor, Commando, and Padua, of which we found information on Bendor and Commando.
Bendor was a British thoroughbred racehorse who won the 1880 Epsom Derby and won 7 major races throughout all of his 3 racing seasons.
He was also the leading broodmare sire in Britain and Ireland in 1901 and 1902.
Commando was an American thoroughbred racehorse who won 7 stakes races in his 2nd and 3rd year seasons.
He was named the U.S. Champion 2-year-old colt in 1900 and U.S. Horse of the Year in 1900 and 1901.
He was also the U.S. Champion 3-year-old colt in 1901 and the leading sire in North America in 1907.
He was inducted into the Racing Hall of Fame in 1956.
It is easy to see why those 2 horses were favored in this pedigree.
Moving on, we get to our third place competitor, Slide Rule, who won 10 races between his 2nd and 3rd year seasons.
Yes, out of 29 starts, he won 10 races, placed in 6, and showed in 2.
Looking at this pedigree, we see some more of those familiar names: Cinderella, St. Simon, Bendor, Spendthrift, and Hastings.
Yes, the popularity of certain horses' bloodlines is catching on in the thoroughbred racing industry. We do see 3 horses apart from those names that have been used multiple times in this pedigree.
Yes, they are Roxand, Carbine, and Spearmint.
Let's talk about them a little bit. Roxand was a British thoroughbred racehorse who was the grandson of St. Simon and was the 10th UK Triple Crown champion in 1903.
He has 11 stake wins over his second, third, and fourth-year racing seasons before he was bought by an American breeder in 1906, after which he sired the dam to Man o' War.
When gambling was pronounced illegal in New York, the horse race breeding industry went into the ground, and he was shipped to France for stud work, but he did not do well.
Yes, unfortunately he died of heart disease in 1914, but his skeleton is displayed in the Paris Natural History Museum.
The next horse we see used a lot in slide rules pedigree is Carbine.
He was a New Zealand thoroughbred racehorse who won 30 principal races in New Zealand and Australia.
Out of 43 races, he won 33 and placed in 9. He did not place in one of his races due to a split hoof.
Due to this outstanding record, he has been inducted into the New Zealand Racing Hall of Fame and the Australian Racing Hall of Fame.
He died in 1914 and his skeleton is on display in the Australian Racing Museum. However, his legacy continues to live on outside the museum, as the Australian town of Mount Carbine is named after him, and so is the Carbine Stout, which was a beer developed in 1915.
Additionally, his legacy lives on in his son, Spearmint. Spearmint was a British thoroughbred racehorse who won the Epsom Derby and Grand Prix in Paris in 1906.
Throughout his racing career, he ran in 5 races and won 3. When he retired to stud, he was a successful sire, but does not have any majorly successful offspring, and he died in 1924.
That is all we have on the 1943 Kentucky Derby. Now it's time for a fun horse fact.
Sounds good. Our fun horse fact for the day is that there are no truly wild horses still in existence.
That's right. Most horses that are considered to be wild are actually feral. This means that they are descendants of domesticated horse breeds that are not in captivity.
Examples would be the American Mustang, pictured on the right of the slide, or the Australian Brumby, pictured on the left of the slide.
Well, that's all we have for today. We hope to see you next time when we discuss the 1953 and the 1963 Kentucky Derbies.
This slide lists all the sources used in this video.
Thanks for watching.